You're fine. You've been fine all day. Then someone asks, "Are you okay?" in a gentle voice, and suddenly you're crying. Not because you're sad. Because you finally feel safe enough to stop holding it together. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system doing exactly what it was built to do. For years, people assumed tears only meant sadness. But researchers who study crying have found something different. Tears often show up at the exact moment stress finally has somewhere to go. Not when things are at their worst. When things are finally safe enough to let go. Here's what's actually happening inside you. When you're overwhelmed, your body activates something called the sympathetic nervous system, the same system responsible for fight or flight. Stress hormones rise. Your muscles tense. Your breathing gets shallow. You hold all of it together because you have to keep functioning. But your body can't stay in that state forever. Something has to release the pressure. Biochemist William Fry studied emotional tears back in the 1980s and found they contain stress hormones and other chemical byproducts that regular tears, the kind that just lubricate your eyes, don't. His research suggested that crying may be one of the body's actual methods for flushing out stress chemicals, not just an emotional display, but a physical release valve. That's why the tears often come after the hard part is over. Not during the crisis itself, when you need to stay focused and functional, but right after, when your body senses it's finally allowed to stand down. This connects to something psychologists call emotional flooding. It happens when the emotional load you're carrying exceeds what your nervous system can regulate in the moment. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for staying composed and rational, gets overridden by more primitive brain regions built for raw survival response. You don't decide to cry. The decision gets made below the level of conscious control. This is also why you might cry during a moment that isn't sad at all. Someone offers you help after weeks of struggling alone. A stranger is kind to you on a day you didn't expect kindness. The tears aren't about what just happened. They're about everything you were holding back until that moment made it safe to stop. Researcher Ad Vingerholtz, one of the leading scientists studying crying behavior, found that people most often cry not at the peak of distress, but shortly after, once a sense of safety or resolution returns. Crying, in this sense, isn't the sound of falling apart. It's the sound of your nervous system finally getting permission to come down from high alert. There's also a physiological reward built into it. Studies on crying have found that afterward, many people experience a drop in heart rate and a shift toward the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest and recovery. Your body isn't just releasing emotion. It's actively recalibrating itself back to baseline. So the timing that confuses people the most, crying once the hard part is already over, isn't your body malfunctioning. It's your body finally getting the chance to reset. This explains why so many people describe crying after finishing something enormous. After finals. After a difficult conversation they've been dreading. After finally putting down something they've been carrying alone for weeks. The tears aren't sadness leaking out. They're relief, finally given somewhere to go. If you've ever felt embarrassed for crying at what seemed like the wrong moment, at good news, at kindness, at the exact second things got easier instead of harder, there was nothing wrong with you. Your body was simply doing what bodies have always done. Holding the line until it was finally safe to put it down. You are not fragile for crying when things get better. You are wired for survival, and survival sometimes looks like tears arriving right after the danger has already passed.